This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
In his first official comment on the hijacking of the Saudi supertanker Syria Star, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Saud Al-Faisal described the incident as an outrageous act that stirs anger. During a visit to the Greek capital Athens, Al-Faisal said that there's a need to combat piracy. Al-Faisal added that piracy, just like terrorism, is a disease that needs to be countered jointly.
This is a very dangerous situation. Fortunately, we have taken measures at the international level to counter piracy. France and Italy launched a joint initiative to counter the danger of piracy at the Red Sea. We would like to see other countries taking part in this initiative. Piracy is very dangerous. Just like terrorism, piracy is a disease that plagues the entire world.
سيريا ستار أضخم ناقلة نفط في العالم وقعت في أيدي القراصنة.
The Syria Star, which is the largest oil supertanker in the world, has fallen into the hands of pirates. According to the U.S. Navy, the Saudi tanker was hijacked nearly 830 kilometers southeast of the Kenyan port of Mideast. After it was hijacked, the vessel was led to the Somali port of Eel, an area that is under the control of Somali pirates. The tanker, which is owned by the Saudi oil giant Aramco, was carrying nearly 2 million barrels of oil. The length of the vessel is 330 meters, and its empty weight is 300,000 tons. A spokesman for the U.S. 5th Naval Fleet said the size of the hijacked vessel is equivalent to the size of 3 aircraft carriers.
What I'm seeing is
Generally speaking, we need to minimize the number of successful piracy incidents. We have seen an unprecedented increase in the number of piracy attacks. The area is a home to naval ships and NATO fleets, in addition to the U.S. naval forces.
الأسطول الأمريكي الخامس أكد أن الناقلة
The U.S. 5th Naval Fleet confirmed that the Saudi tanker was raising the Liberian flag and was on its way to the U.S. via the Gulf of Aden. The tanker is operated by Vela International, which is the shipping arm of the Saudi oil giant Aramco. The vessel started operations in March 2008. Since the seizure of Ukrainian arms shipment by Somali pirates last September, the world expected that pirates on the high sea would face major crackdowns. However, this latest hijacking incident, targeting the largest oil tanker in the world, shows that pirates are continuing to expand their sphere of influence. Mazen Aman, alArabiyya.
ناقلة النفط سيروس ستار تم تشييدها في كوريا الجنوبية وكانت في طريقها إلى الولايات المتحدة عبر
The oil tanker, Syria Star, was built in South Korea and it was on its way to the U.S. via the Gulf of Aden. The hijacked vessel, which is still under the control of Somali pirates, is owned by the Saudi oil giant Aramco. The vessel was raising the Liberian flag when it was hijacked by Somali pirates. The vessel has a crew of 25 members, including some from Croatia, Britain, the Philippines, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. The hijacked vessel was carrying 2 million barrels of oil, estimated at $100 million. The incident has led to an increase in the price of crude oil.
ويبلغ طول السفينة 333 متراً.
The vessel measures 330 meters in length and weighs 318,000 tons, equivalent to the size of 3 U.S. aircraft carriers. Its capacity measures nearly 300,000 cubic tons. The vessel, which embarked on its first journey last March, fell in the hands of Somali pirates. The incident ignited a crisis that is still dominating the minds of many, especially those in the oil market. Faiza Harzala, alArabiyya.
استنكرت هيئة علماء المسلمين في العراق السنية.
The Association of Sunni Muslim Scholars in Iraq denounced the Iraqi government's approval of the security pact with Washington. They considered it a stigma of betrayal, calling on the parliament not to approve it. The association said that it condemns this mark of treason and warns members of the current parliament of the gravity of the participation of residents in the green zone in their transgression and follow up with their signature on this lasting pact, which will be lost with the demise of the occupation. The sin and shame of their actions will remain with them until Judgment Day, the statement added.
لم يكد يمر يوم واحد على موافقة مجلس الوزراء العراقي.
Less than a day had passed after the Iraqi cabinet approved the security pact with the United States, when the White House responded by welcoming the Iraqi decision on the basis that the approval will pave the way for a positive and important phase. The decision by the Iraqi government to approve the security pact, which translates into complete U.S. withdrawal from Iraq in 2011, represents the first step towards implementing the agreement. It is expected that the Iraqi parliament will begin their debates and internal consultations on the pact before it makes its final decision on November 24th.
The articles on a clear and complete withdrawal remained. All other articles were cancelled that gave an impression different from the Iraqi government's understanding of a withdrawal. That is, a withdrawal from the cities and villages by June 30th, 2009, which are agreed upon between Iraq and the United States government.
It seems that the fate of the pact in the parliament remains unknown amid strong opposition by some members, who think that signing an agreement like this means that Iraqi blood has been shed in vain, in addition to granting American soldiers the green light to do as they please in Iraq.
Actually, the agreement is degrading and humiliating from the first article to the last one. If the Iraqi public looked at this agreement, they would reject it outright.
As for the side in support of the pact, it reiterates that the agreement represents a diplomatic victory for Iraq, especially since the number of U.S. soldiers in Iraq will gradually decrease with the start of the implementation of the pact.
This is a first-level success of Iraqi diplomacy. I will add that the Cabinet of Ministers, which has debated and agreed on the pact, reviewed the details of each of its articles.
Despite all that is happening, reality indicates that a new U.S. administration will enter the White House after a pledge was made to withdraw all U.S. soldiers from Iraq within 16 months. This is what Obama recently reiterated. This means that the security pact will remain, in the end, merely ink on paper.
Joining us from Amman is Dr. Muhammad Bashar Faidi, the media spokesman for the Association of Muslim Scholars. Dr. Faidi, your attack against the agreement was strong. You described it as a mark of shame and a betrayal. Why do you oppose this pact, even though on the opposing side there are those who originally criticized the government because it procrastinated and lost a lot of time in debates, and who said it should have agreed to it from the beginning?
In the name of God, the merciful, the beneficent, because it is a humiliating agreement, as some members of the parliament described it, because it gets the occupation forces out of the dilemma in the face of the international community. America does not care about the government's opinion. It is embarrassed by the international community after its time has run out. This agreement will give America a justification to remain. How do you want to describe those who give the side and the forces, which have killed more than 1 million Iraqis, destroyed the country into ruins, and made it the most corrupt country in the world? Who gives them the legitimacy to remain? How would you want us to describe them?
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and British Foreign Secretary David Miliband discussed the situation in the Middle East and the peace process. The Syrian Foreign Minister Walid al-Muallim said that Miliband's visit has established a strong basis for future partnership between the two countries.
The British Foreign Secretary David Miliband stressed the importance of Syria in the region, saying that next year will be important for developing a vision for comprehensive peace in the Middle East.
This is not just another visit by a European diplomat to Damascus. Rather, it sets the foundation for a new phase in the relations between the two countries and perhaps a common vision for issues in this region. Al-Assad is reaping the fruits of what political observers believe to be the blunders of the outgoing American President George Bush. The policy of political isolation that the Bush administration has used effortlessly to isolate Damascus is collapsing. The British Foreign Secretary Miliband arrived in Damascus to be the most senior British official to visit the country in 7 years.
Syria is an important country. It has important responsibilities in this region. We know that next year will be important for developing a vision for a comprehensive peace in the Middle East.
Even before Miliband had visited Damascus, he confirmed that Syria has a pivotal role in the making or breaking of the peace process in the region. Miliband said that Syria has made important policy changes towards Lebanon and Iraq. Damascus has established diplomatic relations with Beirut. As for Iraq, Miliband said that the number of foreign fighters crossing into Iraq from Syria has decreased. Miliband's statements debunk Washington's political accusations that Syria is a factor of instability in the region. What is even more important is that Miliband indicated that Syria should play a larger role in the Middle East peace process. The British Foreign Secretary, who had visited Israel and the Palestinian territories, said that next year will present an opportunity to move the peace process forward, including on the Israeli-Syrian peace track. Some political observers believe that Miliband's visit to Syria must be viewed in the context of the European openness towards Damascus, especially when it comes to France. After a long period of boycott between France and Syria, the French President Nicolas Sarkozy visited Damascus a few months earlier. At the time, Syria considered the visit as a recognition of its role in the region and a significant diversion from Washington's extreme position towards it. Before this visit, there was also an important visit by the U.S. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, to Damascus. Many believe that Pelosi's visit was very important because it paved the way for a tangible shift in Western relations towards Syria. The open conflict with Syria was transformed into a dialogue that shattered Bush's legacy and the neo-conservatives' vision for the region.
The remnants of the Israeli occupation in the province of Quneitra continue to kill innocent civilians of this district.
An Israeli landmine exploded amidst a number of civilians, causing many casualties. The occupation continues to refuse to surrender the maps of where the landmines are buried in Quneitra, and it ignores international resolutions.
We hope that all the organizations, international agencies, and the United Nations pressure Israel to reveal the number of landmines it planted while it occupied the Quneitra province so that we can uncover them and keep citizens away.
New civilian victims have been added to the list of innocents who were killed for no reason as a result of remnants of the Israeli occupation, which were planted in our liberated lands of the Quneitra province in its villages along the ceasefire line.
We saw the landmine explode. We ran towards it. We saw people's body parts all over the ground. It was indescribable.
At the time of the incident, I was at my cousin's house, which is about 15 meters away from the site of the explosion. We ran towards the explosion. I was the first or second person who arrived. I saw that some people were still alive. There were many body parts, including hands, legs, and fingers.
Unarmed innocent civilians, victims killed by Israeli landmines. They had done nothing wrong except to remain clinging to the land. Whoever escaped the Israeli landmines buried under the soil did not escape from permanent disability.
The patient arrived at the Martyrs Hospital of Roha Batha. He has severe injuries to his head on the left side as well as to his eye. He has injuries to his neck and torn tissue. He also has breaks to his upper left arm and his lower left leg. His initial medical treatment was by administering a tetanus shot. We cover the wounds and they will be evaluated by a specialist. Then he will be transferred directly to the Damascus hospital.
More than 600 citizens, including 200 children, were killed by the remnants of Israeli occupation. Meanwhile, Israel continues to refuse to follow international resolutions and treaties. It will not allow the surrender of the maps, which show the positions where landmines were buried after its aggression in 1967. In addition, it absolutely refuses to join treaties that ban the use and production of landmines, which kill hundreds of people. New innocent civilians have fallen as victims of the remnants of Israeli occupation, which planted them in the ground of Quneitra province amidst the silence of international organizations, human rights and humanitarian groups. With you, Ali Alawar from the Martyrs Hospital of Ro Abatha in the Quneitra province.
An Egyptian court has put a freeze on controversial gas exports to Israel. The case was brought by an Egyptian man, former diplomat Ibrahim Yusri, who argued that the 15-year deal was costing his country millions of dollars every day. Amma El-Kaki reports from Cairo on an historic verdict.
A huge victory for these political activists and big blow to the Egyptian government.
The court orders the cessation of the government's decision to export gas to Israel.
The administrative court decision to hold gas exports to Israel at very low prices means Egypt will now avoid reported $9 million in daily loss. The case was filed by this man, Ibrahim Yusri, a former senior diplomat. He was soon joined by various political activists, including Anwar Ismat Sadat, nephew of late President Sadat, who himself signed the peace treaty with Israel in 1979.
The past president created peace to take care of his people, to take care of his soldiers and army. It had nothing to do with traders and gas. It's a completely different issue.
The Egyptian government signed the gas exports memorandum of understanding 3 years ago without seeking endorsement from parliament. The deal's conditions were not announced, but activists say it involves selling gas to Israel under $2 per million units, a figure well below the market price of $11 to $13. According to the cabinet's statement after signing the deal, Egypt is committed to supplying Israel with energy under the Camp David peace treaty. But 30 years after peace was brokered, the sentiments on the street haven't changed. For example, this union between left and right-wing activists. Both agree that supplying fuel to Israel means empowering its military machine to continue its aggression against the Palestinian people.
It's a colonial entity. I can't deal with it naturally. I don't have a problem with the Jews, but I have a problem with Israel and with Zionism.
They have formed a citizens group to boycott Israeli products, as well as American companies said to be supporting Israel. They say it's outrageous for Egypt to be providing Israel with gas at a time when it's choking the people of Gaza under a tight siege. The verdict has come as an embarrassment to the Egyptian government, despite its promise to revise the prices of gas exports to Israel. The cabinet has now the right to appeal this decision, but if anything today, the Egyptian public has made its stance more than clear. Amr Kahki, Al Jazeera, Cairo.
And we hope to be speaking to Ibrahim Yusri live on Al Jazeera about that verdict a little later on. Now, Israel has resealed border crossings into the Gaza Strip, blaming ongoing rocket fire from the territory into southern Israeli towns. The blockade was renewed after just 1 day, despite warnings from the UN that food and fuel supplies were fast running out. Well, our correspondent Shireen Tadros joins me now from Gaza. Shireen, what's been the reaction there to the closure?
Well, surely the reaction has been disappointment, but certainly not surprise. The UN and other agencies were hoping for more supplies to come in through those crossings on Tuesday to be able to restock their warehouses so that they are not driven to the brink like they have been in the last few days. They were told Tuesday morning that that wouldn't happen. For at least today, the crossings will remain closed. But with me now to discuss that in a lot more detail is Mohammed Ali. Mohammed has been working with Palestinians here in these last few very difficult days. Mohammed, what is the single most important supply that is running out right now?
One of the main supplies running out of the Gaza Strip, which is cooking gas needed for house people and families to eat, actually, as well as hospitals. Hospital as the main hospital of Gaza, which serves the whole Gaza population, are running out of cooking gas, which is needed for feeding the patients and feeding the laundry as well, which, I mean, if this case continues for more days, we will have a real catastrophe.
And of course, it's not just the crossings for food and medical supplies, the crossing for people, and especially humanitarians, journalists, that's also been closed for 2 weeks.
Since 2 weeks, yes, the start of the Israeli escalated blockade, the Israeli has prevented international humanitarian aid workers and journalists to come into Gaza, which is a very serious situation and not acceptable for us. We have to, as a humanitarian international organization, those workers has to come to Gaza and work and seize the situation. This is the first time happens actually since the broke out of this intifada, the Israeli that keep the closure, the crossings closed for more than 2 weeks and is preventing journalists to come into Gaza and see the situation and assist what is the real need for that.
Gaza lost 7 martyrs, but that does not prevent Palestinian mothers from being fertile. In the first incident of its kind, a mother from Gaza gave birth to 5 infants. More details in the following report.
This is a happy and positive occasion. I congratulate the parents, the grandparents, the honorable family, and the Palestinian people. I pray to God the Great that they grow up to be good sons and daughters.
In a very unique phenomenon, Hiba Ali Eid gave birth to 5 infants, 3 sons and 2 daughters. This happens once in every 400,000 cases of birth. The Shifa Hospital, which is the largest in Gaza, witnessed a similar case 6 years ago.
Thank God we have sufficient numbers of doctors and nurses in the Shifa Hospital. We did not have any shortage of medicine or equipment. The birth went very well.
The infants weigh between 1.1 and 1.5 kilograms. They enjoy good health, and they are staying in the labor ward in the Shifa Hospital. A C-section surgery was conducted without complication.
It is a very happy occasion. In the beginning, we thought we had 4, but it turned out that we have 5. We are even happier.
Haytham, the father of the 5 infants, named them after Palestinian leaders. The 3 sons are named Khalid Mish'al, Ismail Haniya, and Mahmoud al-Zahar. 1 daughter was named Miriam Farahat, and the second, Fatima Najjar, after one of the most prominent martyrs of the Qassam brigades of Hamas movement.
Kulthum is with you in the battle. Abdul Halim Hafiz is with you in the battle. Farid al-Atrash is with you in the battle. Sheikh Nizar al-Rayyan is with you in the battle. Khalid Mish'al is with you in the battle, though he is subject to assassination attempts. Abu al-Abd Haniya is with you in the battle. Mahmoud al-Zahar is with you in the battle.
Hiba carried her 5 infants in her womb for 34 weeks. Her doctor postponed her labor twice in an attempt to protect the lives of the infants. The mother had tried to have children for 4 years. Now she does not have to worry about getting pregnant anymore.
Moshe Yaalon joined Bibi in the Likud. IBA's Elisha Rabin reports.
Leaked reports confirmed during a press conference today make it official that Lieutenant General and former Army Chief of Staff Moshe Yaalon has joined the Likud. Rumors have suggested that he may be the leading candidate for defense minister if a Likud government led by Benjamin Netanyahu were to come to power. Yaalon had been having talks with high-level Likud officials for some time, but what went on in those meetings had remained behind closed doors until now. Yaalon made his career in the military and is best known for his hawkish approach to dealing with the Second Palestinian Intifada. During that time, Yaalon tackled a number of issues facing the military, including apathy among elite soldiers. In 2004, Yaalon famously opposed then Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's decision to withdraw from Gaza. The move earned him an enemy and then Defense Minister Shaul Mufaz. Mufaz intentionally did not extend Yaalon's duties for another year as Chief of Staff. Yaalon then took his talents to the Shalem Center's Adelson Institute, a right-of-center think tank that offered him the title of Distinguished Fellow. Yaalon took a rather political approach on Iran during a speech to a group of North American Jewish leaders. He said America and the world must pursue a strategy of political isolation and increased economic sanctions, with military force being a last resort. But that option would likely not be a solve-all solution.
The ability to launch airstrikes, penetrating their defense systems, targeting the right facilities. So technically, there is an option. I believe again that the option should be ready.
Yaalon has said that the West lacks a sense of determination and unification, making dealing with Iran a problem. And for those dealing with that issue, his opinion matters. For IBA News, I'm Elisha Rabin.
Jordanians complained when the prices of fuel increased. However, they are now complaining more now that oil prices have dropped. They are distressed because gas stations are refusing to sell them gasoline in order to protest price fluctuations by the government. Citizens are left in distress and confusion. Salwa Sawaka reports from Amman.
Jordan has been witnessing a suffocating fuel crisis. This time, however, the crisis is not caused by the rise in oil prices. In fact, oil prices have been going down. The fuel shortage happened after the Jordanian authorities lowered the prices. The owners of gas stations protested the government's decision by refusing to sell fuel. Almost every 2 weeks, fuel prices change. Citizens normally welcome any decrease in fuel prices, which they see as a move to stop greed. But since gas stations stopped selling fuel, transportation across the Jordanian kingdom was derailed.
The gas station has gasoline. Why are they making people wait in long lines? Am I right or wrong?
We could not find gasoline in all of Wadi Sacramento. Gas stations tell us that they do not have fuel. No one knows whether they have it or not. I think they have fuel, but they do not want to sell it now because they think the price will increase later, so they can make big profits.
The supply and demand in the Jordanian fuel sector witnessed a state of panic as some gas stations announced that they have totally run out of oil products. Meanwhile, gas station owners are refusing to place fuel orders in an attempt to avoid foreseeable losses due to government regulations. However, those looking out for the best interests of the citizens have no choice but to bear some of the burden. Gas station owners said they will not bear the responsibility and have put the blame on the policy of pricing, which they say doesn't help stabilize the market.
The Jordanian Petroleum Refinery Company must secure the orders placed by gas station owners. However, the lack of visibility surrounding the random decisions taken by the Ministry of Energy has led to the panic we are witnessing today in the fuel market.
Those familiar with the Jordanian market are expecting the crisis to continue for several days, perhaps until fuel reserves held by distributors run out and provided that oil prices remain unchanged in the international market. The Jordanian citizen, who is supposed to benefit from these decisions, which are aimed at lowering fuel prices, is instead feeling the pinch. A scenario that is puzzling the economists as well as turning fuel products in Jordan into a burning commodity.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/Mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.